I think EU citizenship is the most valuable. There's the most countries. It's more developed. It's also one of the harder ones to get. So I'm Andrew. I'm an attorney. I went to law school out here in San Diego just to start there. I graduated, had my bar during COVID, which was the first COVID bar of all time. So that was a process. And then I passed that and I worked at a corporate law firm for about a year. And then I always kind of felt like this, but I never felt confident enough to do anything about it, I guess. But I just realized that there's nothing wrong with the firm particularly, but or even law, but I just really didn't like working for other people. I never
Hmm.
enjoyed just sitting in school and following instructions. I've always been like more creative, I'd say. And I don't know, at least for me personally, I kind of just checked out of all that for most of my life. I just focused on like other things that interested me because I just didn't realize that there's a lot of opportunity, especially now where you can do anything. At the time, I was kind of just like, I guess I have to do this. There's this box or that box, pick one. So I was kind of like not emotional. But anyway, I worked my corporate law job for a year. I decided to just quit. I didn't really have a plan. A lot of people didn't like that because, you know, they like when you have plans. But I just
Hmm.
knew that I had to get out of there and figure out my way. So initially, I started Ubering to just make some like cash flow. And I also was working on trying to pick up odd legal projects. And I was like making YouTube videos, talking to people, trying to do a confidence coaching business, and also then selling t-shirts online. I was doing like remote sales closing for a little bit as well. And I was kind of in that process for a couple years. And then people say this, but it took me a while to realize that I was just doing way too many things that were just not related at all, and I needed to like go up and then out, not like do a million things at once.
Hmm.
So I decided to just focus more on aspects of law that I enjoy, uh, and also figure out ways to do that under more of a consulting umbrella, so I have more freedom to do it without the degree, in other areas. So now I pretty much focus for my legal work on all types of contract drafting, review, and negotiation. But what I really like doing is uh, you know, people need help with their client proposals, scope of services, business relationship agreements, which aren't necessarily legal services, and helping them do that in a way that's going to help them prevent disputes with clients down the line, and also ideally sell well because it's clear what the deliverables are, and everything about the offer. And then I also do dispute resolution pretty much all outside of court though, and I do mediation where I serve as a like private neutral mediator. So two parties can come to me and say, "Hey, we have this issue with our partnership," and if both parties are willing, at least that's like a usually a much more efficient way to potentially resolve the dispute than just jumping into court.
Yeah.
And another reason I do that, like just close this out by branching into the digital nomad type stuff now, is for mediation at least. I realize that there needs to be more of the world's more interconnected, right? There's more people online making money, and also people that are hiring someone in a different country to work with, or a freelancer to help them on something. And there's more and more disputes of like there's 10 to 15K at issue, or this person thinks they own the property, and there's no good way to resolve that through any other traditional legal system, because you're going to have to sue in one country, then enforce the judgment in another country, and that's going to cost. That's made for like corporations fighting, right? It's not made for
Hmm.
people with like a 10K dispute. but if both parties have to be interested, but for mediation, they can just come to a neutral mediator, do it all on Zoom, and so mediation isn't everything, but there needs to be more dispute resolution for international disputes. And yeah, just to go briefly into digital nomad, I listened to Nomadic Capitalist was the first time I started thinking about this. I actually forget the guy's name, Andrew something, who's in charge of it. But he was on a podcast I listened to, and that started to get super interesting for me. So then I was like, oh, I like run my own business. It's online. I can start moving abroad and doing that. So I started seriously looking into that. And I also realized that a lot of digital nomads do it in a way where they're, on like a tourist visa. They live here for a little bit, live there for a little bit. I think that's how people primarily do it. Uh, I want to learn as I do it a lot of like different tax rules with different countries, different immigration and visa rules to get, or like easiest paths to citizenship. And also like, I know someone does like offshore trusts or like putting your money in like different countries and kind of learning all that information as well as I do this. So I'm planning a move soon, but I'm going somewhere in Europe. I'm not entirely sure yet, but part of the reason is because I'm thinking of it from where can I get like a citizenship the fastest if I like live there for a little bit? What visa can I get? And I'm not thinking about it like, I mean, I want to live in a nice place, I guess, but it's less about like, oh, this looks cool. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I feel like that was uh, that's kind of a background about me and where I'm at now.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you're where you're wanting to go to do remote work. You don't necessarily have to use your degree or your you passed your bar exam, so you don't have necessarily have to use that. So does that mean would your clients mainly be based in United States, or would you open it up
Yeah,
to go
so
foreign?
what I mean by that is, so for legal work, I primarily have to be in California, right?
Okay.
But I mean, there's a lot of opinions on this, but the primary interpretation, in my view, is that my clients should be in California and I should market myself as a California attorney, but where I physically am isn't
Hmm.
really that important, right? So if I go to another country or even another state, I shouldn't like buy an office space and say, I'm an attorney, come in and here's some help. I
Hmm.
have my website saying I'm a California attorney. I have like a address in California I can use. That's like a hybrid office. That's my address. So I like market myself that way. I'll just live somewhere else while doing the work. But in terms of consulting, I still probably wouldn't do that for um, in other countries yet, just because on most visas, you're not supposed to do work in that country. You're supposed to do it in your, in the other country. But
Hmm.
the consulting helps me like just work more at, not under the purview of the license, so I have more flexibility with it, and also it's easier to work in different states in the U.S. if it's not classified as legal work. But
Um, so you were listening to a podcast and that's kind of what got you started into looking into remote, is that right?
yeah, no, yeah, that is true.
All right. And so what brought your attention to that podcast exactly?
I honestly am not 100% sure what the podcast was, but it was a podcast. There's a few podcasts I just listened to that podcast. So it
Hmm.
wasn't really because of the guests or it was just someone that I listened to their podcast and then that was an episode I listened to that looked interesting. I didn't know anything about. I mean, I heard about like being a digital nomad, but I didn't really know anything about it before. But yeah, I mean, it was just I'm not I don't honestly remember the podcast. I just remember it was someone at the time I was listening to a lot of their podcasts, and it was just one I clicked on. So
And it
I
just
wasn't
caught your
yeah,
attention a
yeah.
bit.
I wasn't seeking it out.
Yeah. So Europe, right? Why Europe? I know a lot of digital nomads, they typically go towards like Asian countries,
Hmm.
as it's typically more affordable.
Yeah.
Why Europe?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. South America too is one that people go to. My parents were concerned of my safety going to South America. I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't the reason, but it's a minor consideration. I'm gonna go there eventually because I'm trying to, hit all the continents. Uh, a big reason is I really want EU citizenship, which is super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because basically, if you have EU citizenship, you live in a country that's in the EU, and you're a citizen there. You can go and live in any country in the EU, and you have no restriction on working or
Yes.
living. So, if you don't like what's going on in your country, what can you do? You can vote. Maybe that would do something potentially. Maybe join some activist cause, or you could set up a life where you're like, hey, I'm going to just have a bunch of citizenships. So if I don't like this, I'm going to have the power to go somewhere else. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the main um, thought process there. But yeah, I mean, like, I think EU citizenship is the most valuable. There's the most countries. It's more developed. It's also one of the harder ones to get. I think there's like a lot of the countries have by descent, but if you go to like a country in South America or Thailand, I don't know Thailand specifically, but if you go to like a lot of the cheaper countries, there's usually ways to invest in the country
Mm-hmm.
that are, or sometimes, I'm not an expert at this yet. I'm learning. But there's it's there's usually more opportunities to like buy real estate or something that will get you a citizenship that costs much less than doing it like somewhere in the EU, which is generally going to be a lot more expensive. So because of that, I want to move to Europe. So if I have to do citizenship by residency, I can start the clock ticking for living there.
So, I was also looking into um, going in the European route. Um, and that's one of the things that I noticed was that the the process was like if you go there on um, like a tourist visa or um, even a work visa or their digital visa, digital nomad visa, that once you
Yeah.
land, you can essentially go ahead and apply for a residency visa.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say in absolutes because it's different in every country.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, for some of them at least, you can get the clock ticking as soon as you land. But most of them are, I think like 5 years is on the low side. Most are like 8 to 10 years of living there, so it's a very long time.
Mm.
Most of them it's about half a year though, so you could just be half a year and then somewhere else. But yeah, there aren't many. The easiest path is by descent. If you have like a lot of these countries, if you have an ancestor from there, you can potentially get it that way. Where I'm trying to do Italy because I have ancestors there, but they keep changing the rules, so we're figuring out if
Mm.
we can do it because it used to be you could go past your great grandparents. Now is that they moved it back to grandparents, but there's a Supreme Court pending action on this, so it's not exactly clear. But if you can do citizenship by descent in the EU, I highly recommend it. You're gonna spend a few $1,000s, and having another citizenship is a asset a lot of people don't, I think, value enough.
So are you wanting to be in that country? I know you're wanting to be there long term, but are you wanting that to be like a base for you and then you get to travel to different countries, or are you staying there
Yeah,
for like a year and then going to a different?
ideally, I want to long term have like a few different worldwide bases where
Mm.
I'm like, oh, I like have a citizenship here, I have presence here, and then maybe live here 3 months, 4 months here, 4 months here, three, four, and not like be constantly traveling. But at some point, I do want to explore more and like see a lot of the world. But long term, I want to focus on having like kind of multiple presences throughout the world.
All right. And so when you're looking at your visa options, are you wanting to do the visa process yourself, or are you thinking about hiring a visa agency that will kind of do it for you? I know there's so I watch a lot of digital nomads online. And it's kind of a split. Like I've seen a lot of them do the visa process themselves, but I've also seen them hire another agency to do it for them just so that they make sure that everything is correct and what they need is all good to go before they go ahead and go in there.
Yeah.
So what is your options and what are you planning to do?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I am leaning towards doing it myself. I think depending on the country, though, I'm going to look into it and see how comfortable I am doing it myself.
Mm.
I'm a lawyer, so it helps. It's a different country, so it's different. But like the way of just understanding how to do that paperwork, it does help you. Uh, but yeah, I'm gonna do it case by case. Whenever I fully commit to where I want to go, I'm gonna look at the process and say, can I figure this out very confidently? If not, I'm gonna get someone to help me. Taxes for sure. I'm not gonna do by myself though. No
Mm.
chance. That I'm not gonna do.
You're like, no, thank you. I'm not gonna mess
Yeah,
with that.
no, definitely not. Like I don't even do taxes here myself, so I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Do you have any pets at all? Are you taking any with you if you do?
No, I have no pets. I have a car that I lease. I don't own that many things, so it's like a not that hard of a move.
So it's pretty easy for you.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of things I'm holding on to. So
Have you been out of the country before?
yeah, I've been. It was more, like not when I've been like past like 27, 28 though, which
Okay.
I am now. It was more when I was younger, but I've been to a lot of Europe primarily. I honestly haven't been to Asia or South America.
Gotcha. Has anything like crazy ever happened to you while traveling to a different country?
So this isn't crazy necessarily, but one of my most fun travel trips was when I was in high school. We went and played in this soccer tournament in Sweden called the Gothia Cup. And they just flew us out there and we like were in Sweden, we were also in Amsterdam, we were also in Germany, we were
Wow.
also in Denmark. So we did like it was an awesome experience. I wasn't even that interested in the soccer at the time. I was like whatever, but it was a really cool trip.
Oh, that's cool. So it's from your high school?
Yeah. So it was a while ago.
Nice. See, for here, you don't typically hear that a school will
Uh,
send another team
it
or
was not typical there either, and
okay.
I think they stopped doing it like a few years after we did it. It was one of
At
the
least you got to
things
go
that,
then.
yeah.
Um, so what, so when you are getting ready to make your move and you're in your new country, what is something that you are most looking forward to be able to do?
I think I'm just looking forward to continuing kind of how I have my life set up now, where I just kind of work on my business, exercise. I don't like I'll go snowboarding, hang out with friends, whatever. Kind of getting used to having a similar routine, but doing it in different places, right? I
Mm.
think it'd just be cool. Oh, now I'm living in Portugal. Here's this coffee shop I like, just working here. and just, meeting people and getting out there and doing that.
Nice. So are you more of a coffee guy or a tea guy or
Mm, Coffee in the morning, and then I usually switch to tea in the afternoon.
okay, I understand that. I do the exact same thing.
Nice. Yeah, no, I, I get a little less caffeine in the tea too, and less like jittery, I guess. I
hmm
like the morning coffee boost, and then the afternoon tea, like, pulls you out.
Yeah, do you have like a specific coffee shop that you go to every day or do you make it at home?
So I make morning coffee at home. There's unfortunately not that many places walkable for me for afternoon. So there's like one place I go to.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, it'd be nice to live somewhere where I can walk to more places because I don't like driving to the coffee shop that much.
Yes, that's how I am too.
Or like
We're
I could subway, but
yeah. I mean it's like it's also like I like the feeling of being able to walk, like go
yeah,
to the grocery store or go to your coffee shop or um I'm a bars and restaurant girly, so being able to have access to that, but like being able to walk. Um, I think that is also why I like knowing or thinking about moving abroad because there's so many countries and areas and cities around there that it's so much more walkable compared to places here in the United States. Like
yeah.
everything is kind of more spread out or
hmm
there's not as much like good public transportation as much as there
Yeah,
is.
unless you're in like New York or like one of those
Yeah.
East Coast cities near there. But I mean, San Diego is not good public transport at all.
Yeah, I mean like my where I live now in my city, we just got streetcars put in probably I want to say like 2-ish years ago and it's still kind of building, but like everybody uses it here. It's completely free, but just the fact that as a major city, we are just now starting to think about, public transportation and adding different kinds of transportation is just, it's crazy to me when this has already been an ongoing thing for different countries.
Yeah, no, I mean it definitely could be a lot better here. So I
So,
mean, yeah, go ahead.
so when you move abroad, is that what you're planning on using? Is just public transportation?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on where I go. I think I'm
Mm,
gonna try to live somewhere a little more urban, not like immediate downtown of the city, but somewhere that I have a little bit of space, but ideally have public transport. I can get to more crowded areas.
nice. So you're wanting to be more urban, um, but do you enjoy kind of more of a city life or a beach more laid back, kind of going with the flow type of lifestyle?
I like uh, being removed from the chaos,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to get into the chaos very quickly if I would want to be in there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't like to always be constantly in the huge city. I wouldn't personally, I feel like enjoy living in Manhattan. I like visiting, but I like being able to access, a more chaotic city
hmm
without too much difficulty.
Yeah. Yep. So are you, how long have you been looking into moving abroad? And how long have you been looking at the visa process?
Probably looking into moving abroad for 2-ish years.
Okay.
visa and all that pretty much the same because yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to do this in like a very strategic way. I know a lot of people that do it, they just are like, you got to just go because then you'll never go, which I think for a lot of people is true. But I do want to, for myself, figure out how to get citizenships and
Mhm.
all that. But I also want to learn the different kind of rules for different countries and the like visa process and the taxes and be able to share that information with people because I think it's not that easy to find unless you're willing to pay like an outrageous amount of money to like the best lawyers and CPAs around the world. But
Mhm.
even then, they're not going to know the connections for every single country, right? Or most of them. So, that's why I think there needs to be more of like a global community or network. Like, I
Yeah.
know, like, you're on school, I'm on school. That's, school is great. And there's digital nomad communities on there. But there's no like resource like that where someone can say, hey, I'm thinking of moving to France or, wherever, somewhere I'm thinking of moving to Colombia or here. This is how much money I make. Can I get citizenship this way? What's the visa process? Where's the, how will my taxes work? And do I
Mhm.
need to open a bank account, etc.? And, obviously you can't just give them a tailored plan like that, but having some like general information that people can access and then hire a professional if they need to help them.
Yeah. Has that been a thought to you of like maybe start a school or start
Yeah,
like make courses that, people can go to school or a website of yours and
definitely. I mean, the long term play, and like part of the reason I'm doing this is I want to create a community where, whether it's school or whatever it is, but have a lot of this general information out there
Mhm.
and then have like relationships with tax experts, immigration attorneys, etc. to for tailored help if people need it. But a lot of general info that's more accessible to everyone that's not thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And, but doing that requires me to start moving, doing this, learning about it, meeting a lot of people. So, it's going to take a lot of time because I still don't know that much.
Hmm. Yeah, I also have a like another school account. Like I run one, but mine is more tailored towards, you know, digital nomads or expats or even simple, I'm just going to go visit this country, but it's more like I have specific countries as my category and each one like it will show you events that are going on because for me the my problem when I go to different countries is like finding a community, finding things to do, like knowing what's going on without like being there for a while. So like my thing is I will post on there and it will be like for these different countries and it will show you events that are going on, like the bars and restaurants to go to. And it will even give you like directions of like how to get there or whatever and the time of these events that they happen. I know there's YouTubers that have their own like social club in a sense. So like I know there's a guy in Bangkok that he started his own running club and they run once a week every week and it's grown to like be one of the largest running clubs in Thailand and it's like posting that so people can join like his community and like there's a whole bunch of communities out there that people don't really know about unless they are specifically watching their channel per se.
Yeah,
And so I like it's kind of more of a community knowing what's going on and so forth, but just
that's
kind of
cool. I
giving
like
them
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like our like the school that we are in together. Like I like that because it is from people from all over, but it's more geared towards digital nomads and people that are, yes, there's a wide range of people that are just starting out and people that are already living the life. But there's nothing like, hey, like, yes, we can meet up, but like, there's no events going on. Like, there's a startup of meetups, but like, there's no community once you get to a country, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely.
Do you have like any advice that you want to mention to anyone that's in the process of looking to move abroad?
Yeah. I think I could give more advice this time of someone looking to start an online business because I'll start with that because I think that's the best thing you can do if you want the ability to move abroad.
Mm,
Yes, you could work a fully remote job, but if you're moving somewhere where the hours are 8 hours apart, you can't really do that because you're gonna have to work from 2 a.m. to so I
yes.
mean some people do that, but I think the best way to do it is to have an online business, which I think is now, we're in a window of time now where, 20 years ago you couldn't really do that, maybe a little longer than that, but it's something anyone can do, and it's something that to start, you don't need that much money to do. Like
Hmm.
for whatever you want to do. Like even me or someone, that like I'm a lawyer, so I had that degree and that helped me. But if I want to do what I did 30 years ago, I couldn't have just started working online. I would have to get an office space. I couldn't advertise online really. I'd have to be like, put a sign up and try to get people to come in. The research tools would be way less accessible to go to the
Hmm.
library and read books. Like now you could just think about things and say, what are my skills? What am I good at? If I have, like a standard W-2 job, is there any skill in here that I can sell in a vacuum without being a part of this system? And that's where you can like start with creating your value and then figuring out how to, sell that skill online. And, if you can start from there and, even make some money doing it, you can definitely get to like a Thailand or somewhere cool where you can be working online when you want, making money and just living somewhere that's a lot cheaper.
Hmm. So, if someone wanted to start an online business, but they're kind of scared to take that leap, what would you tell them?
Uh, so I would say a couple things. First, uh, there's not that much risk if you're not even like quitting your job, right? Like if you're just working at your job and you're just going to do this on the side, most things you can start doing with very little money that you have to invest into it up front. Like maybe you want to get a website, it's a subscription fee a month. There's all these sites that can help you build it. You don't have to pay someone to do it if you don't want to. You can start, reaching out to people, getting active on LinkedIn, making a school. Like, you have to pay for social media ads if you do that, but you could just start posting content if that's your way of meeting people. You start picking up the phone and calling people, however you want to start getting people initially. And it really doesn't cost that much money to do that. So, it's not really a risk in that sense. More of the risk is people are we care a lot about what other people think about us, and people are nervous to put themselves out there and do their own thing and make content, etc., because they are nervous of feeling judged by people that aren't doing that. And I would say the most powerful thing is to, you know, get over that fear, right? Because,
Hmm.
that I think is what's holding people back more than anything, to be honest. It's not financial. It's not, it's that again, because there's like really no financial barrier to entry at this point. can learn anything on like a YouTube video, start learning a skill, start learning sales, marketing, try to sell it to people, and still be working your job and, just taking more time to learn a new thing. So the real risk is just your fear of what other people think and fear of failure, etc. And I think the way of getting over that, a lot of ways, but number one, the cliche of, we're all going to die one day, and you're going to, you spend your time worrying about, something you're not going to care about at that point. There's also the point that most people that are going to judge you for what you're doing aren't people experienced at what you're doing. They're people that are not doing what you're doing. So, I mean, it's an like interesting thing to think about. Like, I don't really make that much content yet on social media. I want to, but all these people like judging you making videos or doing your business or whatever, they're not making anything. They're just sitting there like scrolling all day, like, poisoning their brains with garbage. So,
Hmm.
that's like a way to think about it, is that you're actually in the field, at least, even though you just started, you're playing the game. They're kind of just watching and throwing popcorn at you, because most of the time, like if if someone more experienced at what you're doing, occasionally they might like say something to you that you don't like or whatever, but most of the time those people are more supportive because they've been where you are and they understand kind of the process you're at. So listen to more of those people.
Hmm.
I guess that would be my two cents there.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, um, it's kind of like you just gotta do it. And
Yeah.
otherwise I feel like if you wanted to start your own online business or business in general, and you're scared to take that leap, it's kind of like, well, if you don't, you're not gonna know like what your life could look like in 6 months, a year, and so forth if you don't take
Hmm.
a chance. And I agree, like there are people that won't understand what you're doing or why you are doing it, or they will say things about it, but it's almost like you can't listen to them because they don't understand your why. You always have to have a why you want to do something.
Yeah,
Like like
definitely.
yours is like, yes, you want to help people, but you also want freedom.
Yeah, it's the
Like,
primary reason.
yeah, and I mean, you just got to do it. Take the leap.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's less risky than people think.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, and one more thing I'll say is you need to stop thinking of it as in these boxes of fail, succeed, right? Like I tried it and I failed, or I tried it, now I succeeded. Like you're on this journey,
Mhm.
and you're gonna mess up and make mistakes. You're gonna learn from them, and you should just be like constantly trying to get better and get where you want to go, and not so focused on like the optics of what you're doing, and controlling for, I need other people to see me doing good. So, making decisions that way, you need to just focus on yourself and getting better and learning and,
Yeah.
getting where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean like my my friends and family, they they will support me in anything. But if I ever talk about wanting to have an online business, or if I talk about wanting to move abroad, or anything like that, they do not understand. And I
Mm.
can explain it to them, but at the same time, like they're kind of just like, why? Like you already have like a good stable life here. Like why do you want to move away? And I'm just like, freedom, affordability. Like everything here is so expensive. And it's like I'm someone that likes to learn about other people and other cultures, and I just like learning in general, and I want to keep learning. And so I kind of, people can, for me specifically, I kind of feel stuck. Like I have a good job, I have a good life, I'm healthy, but I want to be able to travel. I want like a lot of people want to be able to travel. And so, like what you said, online business is one of the easiest and best ways to be able to do that. But like I said, it's your why, knowing your why. So you are staying focused.
Yeah, and I think a good way to reframe that, and I think it's interesting when, because I have my reasons too when people say, why are you doing that? Why are you, and we should have a reason, right? Like that's not necessarily a bad question. It's,
Yeah.
I'm doing it because of you should know. But the thing is, no one asks people doing the standard thing why they're doing that. So I started asking them that. So, if someone's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, maybe I'll answer, but like, oh, why are you getting married? Why are you taking out a 30-year mortgage? Because society told you, or do you have a reason? Maybe less like blunt, I guess, but like I think it's an appropriate question to ask back because we should all have reasons for why we do things, and hopefully nothing wrong with going a standard route if that's what you want to do, but you should be able to also articulate why you're doing that and not
Hmm.
just put everything on the person doing something different than the herd, you
Yeah,
know?
I totally agree with that. Um, well, that was all my questions for you. I know you said you don't really have social media, is that correct? You just have like a LinkedIn?
Yeah. So I have a school where I help people with deals and disputes, I call it. But if you need just general info and helping structure your client agreements, partnership agreements, or dispute resolution strategy or general business tips, so you can follow me there. It's free. Uh, Mainly active on LinkedIn for now. I'm gonna start filming street interviews that, uh, this is an original idea. People do this, but I'm gonna start doing like, hey, I'm a lawyer. Ask me a question. Essentially, just random street interviews, and be
Hmm.
posting that on like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. So I do have those accounts. I'm just not really active on them. I have like not a following or that many videos yet, but looking to do more on those as well.
Awesome. And um, are they all kind of the same like username or?
Yeah, so they're just my name most. I think one of them is Andy instead of Andrew. I'm not exactly sure. I can send you those via email after.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for hopping on with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well.
Bye.